you.
Lacey Johnson stepped out of the room. I will go get her, and she is now going to talk about staff, how the staff is being affected. While we're waiting on her, I will review. You'll recall I had worked to receive a mutual aid agreement with the AEA because we anticipated staff illness would be one of our biggest problems. I did not win my argument, but we are there now, and I will get Lacey and have her explain those numbers to you.
In the interim, any other comments, questions?
Are they still working on the picture and volume? I'm told it's not too much better. So if we could please check with Mr. Johnson to see if how that's coming along.
My understanding is he's still working on that.
Mrs. Hatterberg, back to your question while we're waiting here. I'm looking at the county positivity rates right now. It's 18.8% at this exact moment in Des Moines County, and that's up 0.2% in the last hour or 2 hours probably. And that's up quite a bit from yesterday. So we're seeing a steep incline in the county right now.
This is Cohen again. When you look at it, it's substantially uncontrolled. It's going wild. 65% of Iowa counties are now in that category, the dark blue category.
Mr. Cohen, I have two questions. Maybe this is not the right time. This is Kendall. First question is, have we checked with Great River Medical Center to see their status? Are they sounding an alarm? Is the Des Moines County Health Department sounding an alarm? And is the number that we're seeing of 18.8 attributed to widespread, or is there a singular outbreak somewhere that could be driving this?
Yes, it is widespread. Yes, there are media reports that the hospitals are stressed. And yes, at 18.8, the county is concerned.
Thank you.
Now, we'll have additional conversations with them based upon the board's decision. But right now, we needed to move forward with board guidance.
Mr. Cohen, this is Tom Courtney. How close is the hospital to being overwhelmed, or has that been talked about?
I will call the doctor after we get done here. I think the numbers that Mrs. Johnson is going to cover with you now will make it clear that even if they have beds at the hospital, and even if the county feels that we're not there, we're getting to the point with staff where we are there. And this is a decision that we need to make for our teachers and our associates and the other support staff members. With that, I will turn it over to Mrs. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson?
I can share with you this morning that we have 105 absences from staff today. That is roughly out of 650. So you're looking at around 16% absent today. There is a lot of illness going around, a lot of COVID, but there is just a lot of illness in general. Our principals are feeling pressure in order to get classes covered. We do have several unfilled spots today. They are managing, and we are rearranging and covering as best we can. However, they are in distress in some of our buildings. And this has been leading up to today, pretty much. Last week, we had another building who was really struggling, and the week before that, a different building that was struggling. So we really need to look at taking care of everybody and also making sure that we have the coverage necessary for our students in all the buildings.
Mrs. Johnson.
This is Cohen. In Education 101, when you're a freshman in college, they tell you you never leave children unsupervised. We're to the point now to where somebody may not only become ill with COVID, staff and students included, but we could also, as a school district, be at the point where the quality of our instruction is degraded to the point where it is non-effective. And with the coverage being so stressed, you could have a child that is not supervised appropriately. An incident could occur and the school would be liable. So there's multiple angles to look at this.
Mr.
all I have.
Cohen, Mr. Cohen, this is Tom Courtney again. I am told that at Blackhawk Elementary, we have 18 individuals out of school today, and we have a teacher, at least one, teaching a subject online, which that person is not familiar with at all. If this is true, I think we're going down a bad road here. If you can tell me if that's true or not, I'd appreciate it.
I definitely hear what you were saying, Mr. Courtney. I would also say that that would be similar to a sub situation where you're having someone cover, even though they may not be familiar with the content. They would be certified to be able to be in there. But I definitely hear what you're saying, and that is a concern as well.
My point is this, Mrs. Johnson, I'm not throwing any blame on anyone, and certification is not an issue. This is a certified issue. I'm sorry. It's a certified teacher, I'm sorry. But if this teacher is teaching a subject that he or she is not prepared to teach, our kids aren't getting any instruction anyway. The point I'm trying to make is we're not doing them much good to be in the classroom. They might as well be home online if we're trying to teach them this way. I know that's kind of jumbled up, but it just seems like we're not doing the kids any favors or our staff. Do you agree with that? Or I'm not trying to put you in a box. Do you agree with that? Or
This is Cohen again. And Mr. Courtney, to your point, when I spoke of the degradation of the effectiveness of the instruction, that is the exact point that you're making.
That's what I thought.
The effectiveness of the day due to these circumstances has degraded the quality of instruction to the point where a reasonable person should consider shifting our delivery system. So yes, you are absolutely correct.
Okay. Then are we to the point where, if I'm out of line, just tell me, but are we the point where the staff and administration is recommending that we consider fully online?
Yes, we are. The gist of it, today's Thursday. We get through the day. Tomorrow we have PD. That PD is 100% online, so we're not subjecting any staff member to potential exposure. The Corey Johnson fills out his application to go 100% online. We have 2 days of courtesy from the Iowa Department of Education to have that application processed. So that then buys us Monday and Tuesday. So what this does is it places us in the position where we are ready to transition Monday morning, and we have time to allow the situation to continue to develop with the hope that it develops toward the safe and not to the uncontrolled proliferation of the disease. And with that, I would like to turn it over to Corey Johnson, and he'll talk through the application process and the time hacks.
Could I say again that I'm still getting calls that we're having trouble with the transmission? Please ask Mr. Johnson to keep working on that. It's apparently jumping in and out, and this is so important. I want everybody to hear it. Thank you.
One quick question, Pat. This is Joel Siren. Are we looking to recommend transitioning to online for all buildings?
Yes, we are, and it's due to staff. It is not due to the student rates. It's due to the ability to be able to cover the classrooms.
So this is
Board Member Annika McVeigh. I do have a question, and I'm not sure if this is for Lacey or for Corey, but before Corey takes over, if we go 100% online, can we discuss how that's going to affect our associates, our lunch staff, and our bus drivers, please?
We are still required to do meals. So we transitioned to much like the process we did during the spring and summer, where we open up the pickup points. What was the other half of your question?
The associates and our bus staff, what happens to them when we go 100% online?
Right. For over the 2-week period, they continue to be paid, much like we did last year. Now, if we don't get this under control and it goes, just spreads across Iowa and everybody has to go to 100% online, I am unaware of where the state would be this year on the ability to continue to pay people that don't come to work. So I will not make any promises at this time.
Can I ask a question, Mr. President?
Yes.
I'm getting several reports that this now is unwatchable online. We have to get this straightened out. I'm getting emails, you all are. This is critical to this community. We have to get the technical problem sorted out. Please, it has to happen now. Thank you.
Suggestions, anyone? Suggestions, anyone?
This has never been much of an issue with us like this before. If we can't do it, I suggest we suspend this meeting for a half hour till they fix it.
Mr. Johnson, where are you on this?
The only problem, we don't know, the issue could be with them in their home. Like with Mrs. Hatterberg, this may be something that is not within our control. I would suggest that we don't suspend the meeting simply because a decision needs to be made for the safety of the kids and the staff. But
I am also
I'm hearing Mr. Johnson in the background.
I'm recording this meeting, so either way, it's going to be able to be watched afterwards, so that the public's going to be able to hear and see the meeting either way.
Would that be acceptable, Mr. Courtney?
That's acceptable. I didn't know how that was going. If that's technically okay and it's clear, then I'm okay with it.
Thank you. Okay, where are we from here?
I think Corey Johnson was going to speak.
Corey?
Yep. All right. So Pat was asking me to talk about the application process if we do choose to go down that route. So if the board chooses to go this route, we will submit an application via the Iowa Department of Education portal, which is the secure system that school districts use to report to the state. We answer questions around our plans and abilities to continue providing appropriate special education service virtually, other student supports virtually, continuing to provide meal services virtually. There are questions and assurances around technology. One of the transitions we made this year was to have take-home Chromebooks for every student K through 12. So we have that in place, as well as the efforts that we've taken and we've talked about with the board previously around expanding Wi-Fi coverage and partnering with local providers to provide low cost or no cost coverage for low income families. So the basic part of that application is just assurances that we're able to continue to provide the services we're required to provide. And then we have to submit our current data, which is the data we've just discussed, current county data, which we've just discussed, as well as support from the county, support from county public health. Once we submit that, we expect to have a 2-day turnaround from the Iowa Department of Education, and we could, again, like Pat was saying, if over the weekend the county positivity rate decreases substantially, then we would be in a position where we could revoke that and go ahead and continue with in-person hybrid learning next week if that positivity rate changed. So we could revoke it at any time. But then questions about the application of the process?
Director McVeigh does have a question. So when you talk about the 2-day period in there that we have, are we saying that we will be sending the kids to school on Monday and Tuesday, or they will not go to school on Monday and Tuesday?
Honestly, if we submit this today, I would anticipate we'll have a response before Monday. I think I would anticipate a response over the weekend, and we would have our answer, an approval or disapproval before Monday. But if we did not yet hear back from them before Monday, we would have the authority to go ahead and move to virtual while we await their response. So if you're in a period of waiting for a response, the district has the authority to be virtual during that period while you're waiting for the response.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear because I know parents are in a panic right now to try to find possible childcare. So I just want them to be aware that things could change over the weekend, but to potentially plan on an all virtual learning starting Monday. Would that be fair?
If the board directs us to submit the application, then parents should begin preparing for all virtual beginning Monday, yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
This is Joel. Corey, is there a way, or has it been thought to put in an application? I know the state says 2 weeks at a time, but to go 2 weeks and 2 days, where it would just remain virtual until after Thanksgiving?
We could request that. I don't know if there, the 2 week time period is specified, I believe, explicitly in one of the governor's proclamations. So we could ask that question, but I don't know if there is, if the DE has the authority to do that or not. But we could ask.
Anyone else?
This is Kendall. I have a question, Corey. So we would potentially request for the 2 weeks, but if we hit Friday of next week and we've dropped down to 15% and we're not going to know about staff attendance until we start up again. But if our community rate has dropped down to below 15 or below 12, or pick a number that we're happy with, we could go back to in person before the 2 weeks is up. That's I guess what I'm asking. If the situation seemed safe.
That's my understanding of the process, is that we could transition back earlier if we chose. Again, that's my understanding. I'm not 100% confident on that, but that's my understanding.
That's fair, and I assume that would require board action as well.
Unsure.
Yes.
Probably.
Well, this is Hatterberg, and I think I'll go ahead and make a motion that we have Corey submit the request to go online for 2 weeks.
I would
Is there a
second
second?
that motion. Director McVeigh will second Ms. Hatterberg's motion.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call vote. Mr. Courtney,
Yes.
Ms. Hatterberg,
Yes.
Ms. Holzen,
Yes.
Mr. Kendall,
Yes.
Ms. McVeigh,
Yes.
Mr. Sarin.
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion passes.
May I ask a question, please?
Yes.
We're at the end of the trimester. I would like for the board to consider allowing some of our career and technical education classes that have very low numbers in there to have the opportunity to those kids and those teachers to attend so they can finish up their projects and things like that, because I'm not sure that they're going to get a lot out of online learning.
Comments, anyone?
This is Hatterberg. Do we have that ability to alter our request when we send it to the state? I guess that's for Corey.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Johnson. Do we have?
My
the
apologies,
ability to do this?
No, I'm sorry, I'm back. I got disconnected there for just a second. I believe that we are able to do that. I don't know that there's a precedent for that currently with other districts, but I believe we could specify that in our application.
Will that take board action?
I have a question about that, Mr. Vikstrom.
Yes, sir.
This is Tom Courtney again. With all due respect to Mr. Keene, I believe that it's wrong to let some kids keep learning and while we tell everyone else they have to go online. I just believe that sends the wrong message, and for my opinion, that's the wrong way to go. Thank you.
And just to address that directly, Mr. Courtney, just so that again, for transparency's sake, there are some students with disabilities who have individual education plans whose plans are written for in-person instruction, even if we are virtual. So there will still be a handful of special education students with very unique or very significant needs who may continue to provide, who may continue to receive services in person, and those are services that are specified in the IEP that the IEP team has determined.
And the students that Mr. Kane is talking about are what kind of students?
This is very different circumstances, but when you made that comment, I did want to make sure that I looped back around and made that point explicit, though.
Thank you. Thank you.
I guess my response, Mr. Courtney, and with all due respect, is that if we go to online learning, all students still should be learning. It's just this type of instruction with where they're at in the trimester, they're more of a skill based than it is a content based at this point. But I will respect the decision of the board. My people in my career and technical education areas, though, did ask me to pose that question to the board. So I'll respect whatever decision is made, but I felt compelled to ask the question.
Let me ask
This
a
is
question.
Holden. This is Mrs. Holson. I would like to know how many students we're talking about and how many faculty members.
Most of the classes that we have right now of the students that are being requested, they have 14 or less kids, and the teachers that are really requesting right now are the industrial tech teachers. And I have 5 of those that have classes that require the use of the equipment that we have here at school in order to really fulfill the curriculum.
Where are these students located? This is Mr. Vikstrom. Are they indoors, outdoors, proximity to other people?
They're out in the industrial tech building. Like our welding booths, there's very little opportunity for students to intermingle because they're actually in a booth. Our construction trades kids are generally outside and they're spread out. That has a classroom of about 8 kids. We have some machining classes that they have machining classes where those machines obviously due to regulations are spaced far enough apart for just pure safety reasons. And again, I will respect whatever the board decides. I need to go ahead and make sure that I represent those instructors as well.
Any other comments?
This is Hatteberg. So we're talking that these kids would come just for that one class, and then they would not be around. It'd just be for the one class period that they had the industrial tech or whatever class. Is that correct?
That is the request, yes.
So are we going to run buses for the kids that don't have cars? Are we going to open the cafeteria? Are we going to expand this to art? Are we going to expand this to, if a kid wants to come in and just meet with the teacher and work on a paper? Just questions that we didn't know were going to be brought up in this meeting that are now center mass.
This is Kendall, and I had that question too, Mr. Cohen, about how the transportation would work for some of these students if they don't drive. I feel for them. I feel for all of the students. I think we're talking, if the students are coming every other day and we're talking a 2-week period, we're talking about 5 class periods. And I'm very torn on this, but I tend to agree with Mr. Courtney in a way that this is, we can't, if we start picking and choosing outside the law, which the special ed students are legally required, and we are legally required to do things for the special ed students, and that's fine. But if we start outside of that, selecting who can and who can't, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that. And to me, it's quite frankly, it's a larger community issue. This community has not acted responsibly with COVID mitigation. And so our students, again, are paying the price for that. And I regret that. I have tremendous regret and sadness for that. I do not want to take this action to go online, but we're in a situation, in a scenario that we have to protect ourselves, because other people somehow, some way are not protecting us.
So this is Hatterberg, and I have another question. Is it possible, if we don't get back to in person before the end of the trimester, that classes that have project-based work would be considered incomplete, and then they would have the option of completing those when we are back in person?
Yes, that would be an option, and or it would be an option to reconsider the trimester end date if we felt that was more appropriate too. So those would be discussions we could have.
We could extend the trimester, but if we give them an incomplete, they have a whole new set of classes that they're going to start when the next trimester starts. And those machines that I'm talking about will be used by a whole new set of students. So I don't know that I think what's going to happen is that they're going to they would have to be probably graded upon the work that's completed to this point. Because if they were to go ahead and try to put that on top of all the rest of the classes that they're going to end up having to take in after the
I am going to respectfully interrupt. Board, I would ask that you make your motion and you allow myself and the cabinet to answer these questions for Mr. Kane, because this meeting is going to be shanghaied and it's going to go on for hours. If we don't move forward, the decision that we make, I will communicate it with you in a timely fashion. And that's what I'm suggesting right now to the board. Mr. President, your feelings?
I'm going to call for a vote. We need to address this issue, but I don't think we can finish it today.
Mr. President, Tom Courtney again. I just need you to know that I will be opposed to anything other than what this motion entails. I don't believe it's right to single out some kids and let them stay. So I just want you to understand I'm opposed to this, Mr. Cohen, and I don't know where you go with this, but I'm opposed to it. So.
And I would like to ask, what is the motion exactly now?
The motion is to vote on we don't have a motion on the floor. This is a discussion. The motion was on filing for for permission to provide the continuous remote learning.
And we voted yes on that, correct?
Yes, we did. The other was a discussion.
This is Kendall. I thought we had a motion to go online. Somebody made a motion and somebody seconded to go online.
That was
And then
the motion was to go online. We had to vote on that, and the vote was affirmative.
Then we don't really have anything else we have to do.
Yes, we have another item here on the, not on this, we've got another motion on the F&M Bank coming up.
But in your mind, Mr. Vikstrom, is this motion finished? And we have made a motion to apply to the state for permission to go online, correct?
Yes, yes.
Then I have another motion to make. I would like to move that we have a discussion regarding the F&M Bank fiasco that's going on in this town. I think we all know what we're talking about. And my motion is that this board talk about that at this time.
Is there a second?
Kendall, second.
Discussion. Mr. Courtney.
Well, I don't know that I have a place to start, but I will start anyway. It's a representative of a local bank, and I guess we should just talk about it. F&M Bank has made some inappropriate, in my view, comments on Facebook that has gone around this community wildfire. Like we are using F&M Bank, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Cohen, but we're using F&M Bank for our student banking thing. I believe that we shouldn't be doing that. I believe that the things that I have seen and I on Facebook concerning this means that Burlington School System should disassociate itself from F&M Bank. That's what this discussion should be about, in my view.
Ms. Hatterberg?
I know nothing, so I guess I've got the wrong Facebook friends. So I certainly would have to have information regarding this topic to discuss.
Could we hear something from Mr. Cohen about this?
Yes.
This is Mr. Cohen. There was a posting by a F&M Bank executive leader that was both racist and sexist about a vice presidential candidate. It has burned through our community. It's concerning for our minority families, our minority children, and I'm receiving feedback that that we should disassociate ourselves from that bank so that we are not deemed as supporting that type of racist and sexist behavior.
Mr. Cohen, this is Joel Siren. Just a question on this. Is this something that is appropriate to be done at an emergency meeting, or is this something that should be just done on, say, on Monday's meeting, where it's more of a posted agenda item?
In this instance, I think by Burlington Community School District taking swift action and timely action sends a message that we value and respect diversity, and that we do not in any way, shape, or form condone this type of expression. So I think it is appropriate for this meeting, but however, that is up to the board to determine, because you could make a motion that says table this till the next meeting, or we can make a decision right now. I do believe that it's I would like to not say exactly what was stated in a live meeting, but I will. Again, it was vulgar, it was offensive, and it was sexist, and it was racist.
Ms. Olson, any comments?
I think I need more information too. This is the first I've heard of this. So I move that we table this discussion till Monday's meeting.
I would like to have comments from everyone first before that motion is made, please. But we have the motion made, so I guess we're going to have to call for a vote on the motion.
It hasn't been seconded yet, Mr. President.
Okay, we're going to have a second on this.
No, it hasn't been seconded, so you don't have to do anything yet.
I'm asking for a second.
I second the motion. Siren.
Okay, motion has been seconded. Discussion. Mr. Courtney.
I saw it. I don't know if any of you saw it or not, but if you see this, you will be as appalled as I am, I believe. And I believe waiting until Monday's meeting just sends the minority community and others in Burlington a message that we're okay with putting that off a while. I don't think we should be, but I do agree with Ms. Holson. If she hasn't seen it yet, it isn't fair to ask for action on this today. So I don't know how we can get everyone to see it, but I'm terribly offended by what happened.
Mr. Kendall?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I have seen it, and I concur that it was shocking and unforgivable and, quite frankly, disgusting and insulting to many, many, many people. And I certainly do not wish to take any action that in any way seems to support what was posted. However, since we don't have everybody knowing and our board knowing what exactly it was, and I would like to give the institution a chance to respond, because I also am aware that one person is not necessarily indicative of the entire organization. So I would like to give them a chance to respond before taking drastic action. I think we can issue a statement that we are appalled by the comment and we do not support the comment. But at this point, if we don't have all the board members knowing what was said, I think we almost have to wait till we have a meeting on Monday. We can amend the agenda for Monday to put this on there. It's 3 days. People will know we are talking about it. We're just getting everybody informed about it. So I would, I don't necessarily want to delay, but I think maybe that's what we should do so we can get everybody on the board aware of what was going on.
Ms. McVeigh?
I would have to agree with Mr. Kendall and Mr. Courtney. While I find it very offensive and disrespectful, we do have to give the business a chance to rectify the situation. When we make a mistake, the community allows us to make a correction, and I think that is only fair. I do agree that we should do something sooner than later. However, without all of the board members being aware of the situation, that is completely unfair, and we need to be completely transparent as a board in our decision. So while I'm not thrilled with waiting till Monday night, it is only fair, but I would appreciate a statement going out that the school district does not approve of this and that we are working on it on our end. So if that communication can go out, I would be supportive of the new motion.
Mr. Sarin?
Yeah, I'm, as with everybody, upset about it. I'm going to be calling over and closing my accounts over there today. But the same, want to give the business time to react. I think by tabling it, they have full knowledge now that what our intended actions are going to be for Monday. And I would encourage people affiliated there to reach out and make appropriate, and not reach out to us, reach out to the community and make appropriate, take appropriate actions between now and then.
Okay, this is Mr. Vikstrom. I have seen her communications. I have read the responses to it. It is probably the worst, nastiest, racist comments I've ever seen on any piece of data around here. I think it requires immediate action. I don't think we should wimp out on this. I think we should let people know exactly how we feel right now. And I think the community needs to know how we feel right now. I will go with the will of the board, but I want action right now on this. This really bothers me. We've got a country we're trying to bring together, and all this does is start to break us up again. I dislike this. I hate this. It's time to pull things together, and it's time to show support for people in this community. Okay, you know where my feelings are.
Mr.
I'm going to call for a vote.
Mr. Vikstrom, I have one more thing to add, if I might.
Yes.
Number one, the president or CEO of the bank had a public statement on a half hour ago where he apologized for that. So they have made a statement. They're aware of it. His statement, I can't find it to read it, but his statement agreed that it was reprehensible what she had done. They have suspended the person who made the offensive comment. That's my understanding. She's high up in the organization. My understanding, she's been suspended for the moment. I believe that a majority of this board has seen it and that we should take immediate action, because I think it's just terrible what she put online. And I don't want any organization like that having anything to do with showing our kids how to do their banking. That's my opinion, and that probably won't change today. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Vikstrom, this is Kendall. I have a clarification, I guess, if I may. There's a motion on the table that we will vote on first to table this till the next board meeting. Am I correct?
Yes.
You are correct.
And that's the only motion we have right now. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to call for the question. Mr. Courtney,
No.
Ms. Hatterberg,
Yes.
Ms. Holzen,
Yes.
Mr. Kendall,
Yes.
Ms. McVeigh,
Yes.
Mr. Sarin.
Yes.
I vote no. Motion passes. We'll table this until Monday.
This is
Motion
Hatterberg.
failed, pardon me. Motion failed. This will be tabled until Monday.
This is Hatterberg. I would certainly be in favor of putting out something that the district feels that, this was irrehensible and that sort of thing. I mean, I have no problem. I think something could go out today. And I think most of us are saying that same thing, that yes, we will vote on it on Monday, but that our feeling is that this is not what we want to this is not the organization that we want to how do I say that? This is not how we feel about our families and students and the community in Burlington. I think that's something that could be done today.
Okay, what's the will of the board on this?
The will of the board was to table the issue. The issue's been tabled.
What's the will of the board on allowing the administration to put out a comment?
Yeah,
the issue's
Director
been tabled.
So moved.
Yes. I would, if we need a motion to get a statement out, I would like to make that motion that we act immediately, like Mr. Cohen has said, and get a statement out so that our community and our families understand where we stand on this.
Is there a
Ms.
second?
McVeigh, this is Kendall. I have a question. Are you directing Mr. Cohen to do that?
Ms. McVeigh? Are you directing
think-
Mr. Kendall to do this?
Mr. Cohen and his administration team would be the ones in charge of that communication, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, you agree that what they put out will be a board statement?
Mr. Vikstrom,
Yes.
my question is this: what did we just table?
We tabled voting on pulling our accounts from the F&M Bank.
Why are we now going to make a statement on something we tabled? We tabled the issue. If it's
We need
tabled
to make
if it's tabled until Monday, in my view, it's tabled until Monday, and we should not be talking about the issue again in this meeting, unless you want to take it off the table and talk about the whole issue, which would be my proposal.
Who's
This
the
is Hatterberg
parliamentarian?
again. I'm sorry, this is Hatterberg again. To me, there are two different things. If the vote is to completely withdraw our association with the bank, that's one issue. If how we deem the statement, that's another issue. That's my opinion. Thank you.
This is Kendall. I have a question for Mr. Reynolds. Are you on, Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Does the board have the authority at this point to ask for a statement and make a motion for a statement to be issued?
My recommendation would be in line with Mr. Courtney, since the board basically tabled any discussion until Monday. I don't know that it's really appropriate to issue a statement at this time until further discussion is made. But
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. I appreciate, as board secretary, you look out for the board, and I appreciate your input. Thank you.
Okay, we've had a motion. Did we have a second?
Mr. Vikstrom, I move the meeting be adjourned.
Is there a second? Hearing none, we'll continue for a period.
This is
Is there-
Director McVeigh. I would like to make a new motion that we untable the F&M bank conversation from Monday. I think it needs immediate action, and if we are directed by Mr. Reynolds that we cannot make a statement right now, I apologize to the other board members that have not seen it, but I feel we need to make quick communication to the community and to our families.
I'd
For
second
that, I would make a motion to remove the conversation from Monday so we can get a statement out promptly.
I second the motion to place the issue back on the table.
Mr. Courtney seconds it. Discussion. Ms. Hatterberg.
Just my question, are we saying, yes, we find this language irreprehensible? And are we saying we are disassociating with that bank? Those are my questions. Thank you.
No.
This is Holzen. I'm having a real problem with this because I don't have any information. I mean, I think I need to make an informed decision, and that would be to include being able to read the statement and those responses. I'm not in favor of any racist comments on any public forum. Of course I'm not. And I don't think asking to wait for 3 days so I can be better informed to vote on this issue is something that should be ignored. Thank you. I'm done.
So do you have the ability to bring that up on your cell phone?
I'm using my cell phone, so probably not while I'm using it.
Okay. Well, you know, it's all over that. It blew up. It's all through the community, and we're not trying to mislead you. It is there. It is terrible. It is reprehensible. It should never have been there. I appreciate your opinion. Nobody wants to make an uninformed decision. Thank you. Mr. Kendall.
I do not want to move forward with any discussion if there's any single board member or board members that have not seen it and want to see it. I think through our discussion, the public is well aware of how we feel about this. And if we don't get anything put out until Monday evening, then I guess that's the way it is. So I support Nancy. I don't want to do anything without everybody having the information they need to have.
This is Superintendent Cohen. I would support Nancy Holzen and Darwin Kendall's comments and Annika McVeigh's and Deb Hatterberg's that we do not move forward without the board having looked at, read, and considered the actual document. So at this time, I believe that we allow this to die and we close the meeting.
Ms. McVeigh.
No comment.
Mr. Sarin.
We're discussing the motion to untable the.
Correct.
Okay, no comment.
Well, you know what my feelings are. I do not like to wait on something like this one. Hit when the iron's hot. This is an issue that is a flashpoint in this community right now. I'm going to have to abide by the will of the board, but you know what my opinion is.
Mr. Vikstrom, we have a motion and a second on the floor. I think you have to vote on.
I'm going to bring this to a vote.
And the vote would be to untable the issue, correct?
Correct. Mr. Courtney.
Mr. Vikstrom, this is Kendall. Can I add one more comment, please? I respect your position as well. It is a hot point. It is a flashpoint. It is something that needs to be dealt with swiftly. However, I don't want to make a swift response on our part when not everybody is aware of what we're actually talking about. And I think, again, from the discussion we're having, it's going to be clear of how we feel about it. So I really don't want to make a quick response at this time if we have people that are not aware of what we're talking about.
Okay, I can appreciate Ms. Holzen's position. Don't think I'm uncaring about that. Okay, we need to bring this to a vote. Mr. Courtney,
It's my understanding a yes vote would be a vote to take it off the table and talk about it, correct?
correct.
Yes.
Ms. Hatterberg,
No.
Ms. Holzen,
No.
Mr. Kendall,
No.
Ms. McVeigh,
Yes.
Mr. Sarin,
No.
and I vote yes, but the motion fails.
I move we adjourn, Mr. President.
I will second Mr. Courtney.
Okay, any discussion on that? I guess not. Mr. Courtney, vote.
Oh, yes, yes.
Ms. Hatterberg,
Yes.
Ms. Holzen,
Yes.
Mr. Kendall,
Yes, and thank you, everybody.
Ms. McVeigh,
Yes.
Mr. Sarin. Motion passes. We're adjourned.